Welcome back, and Owen's here to give us a business update. Hello again, Owen. So it's the first full trading day on the markets of this new year, and the Asian markets have opened up pretty strongly. And
finished strongly as well in Japan, Claire, absolutely. The Nikkei closing the day's trade at around 0.7% up. Not bad. Reasonable perhaps for the first day back at the desk for many of those traders, including those in Hong Kong, where the Hang Seng, as you can see, is up around 2%. I bet some of those companies that floated towards the end of last year wish they'd held off and done it this week with that kind of performance. As you can see, the Shanghai Composite and indeed the Kospi has managed to find some gains this Tuesday morning. The European markets, all of those, the FTSE will be back trading today. Yesterday, it was just the CAC 40 and the DAX leading the pack. You can see there the CAC 40 had a pretty good day's trade, closing around 2% up. But remember, many of these European markets had double-digit losses during the last 12 months or so they're going to need many more days like that if they're going to recoup those losses. Just a brief word as well about the euro. We've been talking about that over the past 24 hours. Not a great start for this currency on what is its 10th anniversary. It was down once again against the dollar in trading on Monday. It has managed to recoup some of those losses, but lots of numbers coming out of the US just do not encourage it. For example, new data from the US shows that during December, there were a record number of short positions on the euro. That's traders betting against the demise or even the disintegration of the single currency. So the numbers certainly coming from across the Atlantic don't look great right now, even though Eurozone politicians appear to be getting some kind of grip on the crisis at the moment.
Right, so the euro hasn't had a glittering start to the new year. During the week, it celebrates its 10th birthday. France is one of the co-founders of the single currency, but there's a growing resistance committed to trying to keep the franc alive just weeks before it's due to be consigned to history forever. Jade Barker has more.
They say every penny or franc counts. But for the French, the time has come to stop hoarding. They have until February 17th to exchange their old francs, a surprising amount of which are still in circulation. 10 years after the introduction of the euro, there's still around 4 billion francs, worth about 600 million euros. Shops in some parts of the country even still accept the old notes.
We take about 7,000 francs a week, which is a bit more than 1,000 euros. We've been doing this for 3.5 years, which equals about 50,000 euros.
There's a reason why some French are sentimental about their old currency. The euro ended 2010 at $1.29, its lowest level in a year, and its poor performance did not help its popularity.
We can say that there have been some major political mistakes, that the system invented 15 years ago didn't function correctly. And when people are lost, they're afraid, and their instinctive reaction is to distance themselves from the source of the problem.
Opinion is clearly still divided in France about making the move to the single currency. According to a recent poll, 36% of French people would like to abandon the euro. Others, however, see some benefits.
It's a good thing for the free movement of people in different countries, because when we go to Spain or Italy, we use the same currency.
One currency, the euro. And next month, it's goodbye to the franc forever.
And we'll be continuing with that series on the 10th anniversary of the euro throughout the week here on France 24 Business. Let's get a couple more of the day's business headlines for you now. The future of bankrupt cross-channel ferry company Sea France is likely to be decided by a court this Tuesday. A judge must rule on whether the subsidiary of state rail operator SNCF can legally turn itself into a cooperative in order to stop liquidation. President Nicolas Sarkozy has personally backed the plan, which needs 50 million euros of funding, but risks breaking EU rules on state aid.
And BP is seeking $20 billion from contractor Bulletin over the Gulf of Mexico disaster it was jointly responsible for. The British oil giant is trying to recoup some of the billions it spent on clearing up the Deepwater Horizon spill, as well as the money it's already spent on compensation. The lawsuit is the latest to be added to a growing pile of litigation involving the two companies and a third contractor, Transocean, over the 2010 accident. Next, the growing fault line opening up across America's natural gas fields. The vast deposits of landlocked gas have triggered a new modern-day gold rush. But for the first time, official doubts about the environmental impact are beginning to blot the commercial prospects of a multi-billion-dollar industry. There are growing concerns that watercourses are at serious risk from a controversial practice known as fracking.
Have 7 wells.
Her backyard once looked out at unspoiled Colorado countryside. But Cindy Banfield says her life was turned upside down this year when natural gas drilling began about 100 meters from her house.
Your whole body felt like it was just vibrating.
The gas below Banfield's property was reached using hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. The process involves blasting shale rocks thousands of meters deep with water and chemicals to free oil and gas trapped inside. Fracking is already a $9 billion industry in Colorado, and that number is set to grow as energy companies tap into underground gas pockets that were too hard to reach until now. But the development could come at a cost to people living nearby. U.S. regulators recently linked fracking to pollution in underground water supplies in nearby Wyoming. But Colorado's oil and gas industry says careful practices, not more regulation of their business, will make sure it doesn't happen here.
Each additive has a specific purpose, and our objective is to ensure that it's managed properly at the surface and that it's isolated and it's used subsurface so that it has no opportunity to contact with groundwater.
Many energy firms voluntarily disclose online most of the chemicals they use in fracking, but environmentalists say that's little comfort to residents.
It requires big rigs on drilling sites, lots of noise, lots of lights, odors, dust, and that kind of action is harmful to property values.
Fracking is forecast to create nearly 300,000 jobs in the next 4 years, but opponents say this is fuel for the economy that America cannot afford.
Now, if you're watching us on your iPad or indeed any other tablet computer, you probably know this already, that the tablet computer really has come of age. In 2010, it was very much a niche product, but sales during December and indeed the rest of 2011 have seen explosive demand, so much so that even the relative newcomers to the party are reaping the benefits. Maeva Bambuk has more details for us.
Roar! A San Francisco cable car destroyed by an angry robot. That's what a swipe of your finger can do on Two-Tastic, a new iPad game created by this app developer. Kids get to make and record their own cartoons with the press of a button.
With devices like the iPad, we're able to actually record what kids are doing, their voices and their actions. And so Two-Tastic is essentially paper puppets with a record button.
In 2011, a whopping 65 million tablets were sold worldwide, up 300% from 2010. The iPad commands 65% of market share, but Samsung's Galaxy tablet is emerging as a viable competitor. Meanwhile, Amazon's Kindle Fire, a much cheaper tablet, is said to have sold at the rate of 1 million per week in December.
Now we can do things like be hands-on, and we can do things like take them outside, and we can do things like using this as a lens to see and augment the rest of the world and envision it in ways that I never saw it before.
Tablets and electronic readers have transformed the way people read, play and work. But as one business booms, another seems to suffer.
And increasingly people are reading things on Kindles, they're reading things on their iPads, they're reading things on their screens.
This new year promises to be full of new developments. We could see an iPad 3 or a new Google device. But the biggest changes could come to the way we watch television. Both Apple and Google are expected to launch their own TV systems.
And that's it for business. Thanks, Owen. And that's it from me. Do stay tuned to France 24. Stuart will have all the latest headlines in just a couple of minutes.